Great to see you back. In this video, we'll build on what we learned about concatenate and import range by exploring a new SQL query, concat. You might remember that concatenate is a function that joins together two or more text strings. And as a quick reminder, a text string is a group of characters within a cell, most often composed of letters. You've seen how this works within a single spreadsheet. But there's a similar function in SQL that allows you to join multiple text strings from multiple sources, concat. Let's use concat to combine strings from multiple tables to create new strings. For this example, we'll use open data from Citi Bike, which is a public bike sharing system in New York. As you learned earlier, open data initiatives have created a ton of data for analysts to use. Openness, or open data, is free access, usage, and sharing of data. It's a great resource if you want to practice or experiment with the data analysis tools you've been learning here. We have open access to the New York City bike sharing data, which has information about the use of the shared bikes across the city. So now we can use concat to pull and concatenate data from the different columns stored here. The first thing we need to do is figure out which columns we need. That way we can tell SQL where the strings we want are. For example, the bike sharing company has two different kinds of customers, one-time paying customers and subscribers. Let's say we want to find out what routes are most popular with different user types. To do that, we need to create strings of recognizable route names that we can count and sort. We know that the information we need is in the station and trips table. So we'll start building our query accordingly. First, we'll input select user type to let SQL know that we want it as a column. Then we'll use concat to combine the names of the beginning and ending stations for each trip in a new column. We'll type in as route to make a route column. This will make these route names easy for us to read and understand. After that, we'll want SQL to count the number of trips, so we'll input count and an asterisk to tell it to count up the number of rows in the data we're selecting, where each row represents a trip in a new column. Now, let's also create a column for trip duration, which we can just round up. Notice how our SQL functions first cast the values in the trip duration column as integers, then calculates the average value for the trip duration, and then rounds that value to 2 decimal places. Next, we'll tell SQL where this information is stored, so we'll use from and the location we're pulling from. Since we're using count and average functions in our select clause, we have to use group by to group together summary rows. Let's group by the start station, the end station, and the user type for this query. Finally, we'll use order by to tell it how we want to organize the data. For this, we want to figure out the most common trips, so we can input the number of trips column and use des to put it in descending order. Finally, we only want the top 10, so let's add limit 10. And now, thanks to concat, we can easily read the route names and trace them back to real places. We can see which kinds of customers are taking which routes, which can help the bike sharing company understand their user base in different parts of the city and where to keep more bikes for people to rent. Being able to combine multiple pieces of data can give you new ways to organize and analyze data, and there's a lot of different tools to help you do that. Now you've seen concat in action, and later you'll come across another similar query, join. But up next, we'll talk more about working with strings. See you soon.